Welcome back to the One-on-One Sports Webcast, where I'm joined by our hardcourt experts, Evan and Christian, here to break down the biggest surprises in the NBA. So, Evan, we will start with you. Which team from the East is surprisingly good this season?
I got to go with the Detroit Pistons. Detroit basketball is back. It is their best season so far in 10 years. Their last season being better than the 8th seed was in the 07-08 season, and that's their best start since.
So far.
They're 13-6 this season. They have wins against the Warriors, they have wins against the Thunder, they have wins against the Celtics.
Right. But are they the most surprising team? I mean, really, it's the Celtics and the Cavs, and then it's the rest. We're not really surprised about any team.
The Pistons are currently the number 2 seed in the East.
Right. Well, the Cavs are on an 8-game win streak, and you really think...
Oh, the Cavs, yeah.
You really think that...
I'm thinking Celtics.
You really think that the Cavs are going to finish third to the Pistons? I mean,
the Cavs don't care enough about the regular season.
They've improved because they signed Avery Bradley. And you knew that
they traded for Avery Bradley.
They traded for Avery Bradley, but you knew that going into the season. They drafted Luke Kennard. Their bench is much better, and their starters are much better.
They're basically bringing in the same roster as last season. That roster won 37 games.
Not with Avery Bradley, Reggie Jackson. That starting lineup is so much better.
Reggie Jackson was hurt for 30 games last year, but he still played
but
in 50 more.
that guard combination, Bradley is very good. He's improved every single year offensively. He's been the best defender in the league.
Bradley is huge for them, but they lost Marcus Morris there.
Right, but they gained the best defender in the league and a solid scoring option, much better than Morris was.
The advanced metrics say that Avery Bradley is not as good as everybody says. He is one of the best on-ball defenders in the league. However, all he is a spot-up shooter. He doesn't get that many assists.
Not this year. He took a step. He took a step this year. They just beat the Celtics. They beat the Warriors. He's that kind of guy where you don't really need to rely on him because you have Drummond, but Tobias Harris, and Reggie Jackson combined, they can put up numbers. You can rely on whoever you want in that lineup, and you knew that coming in. Yeah.
Well, coming from the East to the West now, Christian, what team from the West is surprisingly really bad this season?
The Thunder. I mean, you can't have the 3 play. I mean, you can say that they'll have some growing pains, but they weren't supposed to be this bad. I mean, Russell Westbrook is just hogging the ball like it's their worst nightmare. It really is. It really is their worst nightmare.
It's 3 ball hogs not passing the ball to each other. They're bottom 5 in assists per game. They just ISO most of the time. I mean, when you have players like Russ and Melo and Paul George, that's what you're supposed to do. And yes, I agree that they've been extremely disappointing this season, but when you have 3 superstars like that who can easily put the ball in the net, and they are number 2 in defensive rating, so it's not like it's just their offense holding them back. And
right,
they have
and
those
that was
3
supposed to be the
stars.
thing they were supposed to be number 4 in the West. You were supposed to be Golden State, San Antonio, and Houston. Then it was supposed to be the Thunder 4th, at least.
I think they're just struggling with chemistry right now. I think compare this to the LeBron James Heat. When he first got there, they started off, I think, 10-10. It was Wade, Bosh, and LeBron. But this is basically the same thing. There were 3 ball-dominant players who didn't know how to work together, and then after a little while, they got it going. Yes, it might be taking the Thunder a little bit longer because I think they're 8-11 right now, which is 3 games below. But, I mean, just give them a little bit more time. If they're still struggling by the All-Star break, that's an issue.
But you don't have that championship pedigree that Wade brought. You have 3 players that haven't had much success in the playoffs, and I think that there's no real leadership. It's trying to find you're trying to figure out who, like Paul George cannot be scoring 2 points a game, or he scored 2 points in one of the games.
It's Paul George.
But he had 10 assists in that game, I think.
Right, but you can't have 3 great players and then your bench stink and expect to be that great.
They have some decent players off their bench. Raymond Felton is a good backup point guard.
That's one player.
They have Jeremy Grant, who is a way above average defender.
Evan, coming from the Thunder to you, who is your pick?
I'm going to go with the Utah Jazz because I thought they were going to be the number 5 or 6 seed in the West. Yes, losing Gordon Hayward.
Did you forget they lost Gordon Hayward?
That's a big loss for them.
That's
of course.
a huge loss
but,
for them.
I mean, they're still top 10 in defensive rating this season.
Well, that's their defense. You're gonna have a hard time.
You got to have offense, and yes, that's where they're struggling.
But your leader is Gobert. You can't this is the problem with the
Gobert
Pistons
is taking a big step offensively.
But you can't be the leader of a team and be the center. I feel like
Why
in
not?
the modern NBA, You need a guard or a scoring, like bring the ball up shooter. You can't be in the paint.
That's what I think
that's
the
where they're
Jazz's
limited.
issue is.
Well-
they have They have Ricky Rubio as their starting point guard. and he's shooting.
Listen to yourself. Ricky Rubio.
He started off the season shooting 40% from three, which is incredible for Rubio.
Ricky Rubio.
But he's back. He's back down to 35% and 28% from
Well,
three.
coming from two disappointing teams so far, let's see if they can keep it up and bring it up in the second half of the season. Coming up, our college football experts will debate the unwritten rules of the playoffs. Stay tuned.